Good Monday morning, everybody. Hope your weekend went well, and hopefully your week is on a good start. Best way I know to start the week is with Strat-O-Matic and coffee. To me, that's a combination that I thoroughly enjoy, and I make no apologies about it. It's definitely enjoyable. All right, so we are now to the May 31st date, the final game in the month of May. Didn't think I'd ever get through May because May was a long month, 31 days. It took some time, no doubt about it. But we're not in a rush here. We are just going to enjoy the journey. And however long it takes is however long it takes. So we are at the May 31st date. The first game to be played on the May 31st date. And as usual, I try to go East Coast to West Coast geographically in the order of these games. So the first game on the docket comes to us from Yankee Stadium. And it will be the Oakland A's taking on the New York Yankees. The schedule will look like this for the week. Today is Oakland and New York. Tomorrow, game 326, will be Milwaukee Brewers visiting the Cleveland Indians. And then on Wednesday, we have an actual doubleheader where the Detroit Tigers will host the Minnesota Twins in a doubleheader to make up the game they did not play on May the 30th. So that will be the Wednesday game. Thursday, we will shift from Detroit over to Kansas City, and we'll be looking at the Texas Rangers and the Kansas City Royals. And then the final game will be on Friday, and it will be Actually, to take it back, Thursday will be Boston at Chicago because we're trying to go east to west here. So Boston at Chicago will be Thursday. Friday will be Texas at Kansas City. And then probably Saturday will be the National League game for 1987, which on May 31st, the game I picked is Cincinnati and Pittsburgh from Pittsburgh for the 1987 game of the week. I don't know about that, Jeff, but I appreciate the encouragement. I'd maybe call it smooth as a bumpy road. Hello, Dr. D. Good to see you. Yeah, replay. I hope he's doing all right. I hope it's not anything, where he's personally having a hard time, and that's why he's not doing videos, because I definitely miss his channel. And he had a lot of those. He had about 100 of those tabletop talks. Not all of them, I mean, most of them were not interviews. Most of them were just his thoughts on the hobby and different games and stuff. But he did do a series of interviews with different people on different sports. I mean, he interviewed everybody from Dave Gardner to Kurt Berglund to I don't want to miss anybody. I know I'm going to forget people. Biggest mistake you could ever make when you make a list of people that you're supposed to go over and give props to, you're always going to forget somebody. That's the problem. Let me go back. I think he did one with Sportsman Z, Kurt Berglund, Dave Gardner, Al Red Sox fan, Steve Tower, and I'm trying to figure out who I know there's others. I have to go back and look at it. I'm sure. Tebow from probably the biggest authority on APA Master Game out there is Mr. Tebow. So he did something on Tebow, a big thing with that. I think he did 2 videos with Tebow on that, actually, because APA Master Game was such a thing there. Kurt Berglund, I believe he did it with Season Ticket Baseball. Of course, with Steve Tower, he did it with History Maker Baseball. Did mine with Strat. Sportsman Z, I think he just did it on his. He may have done something with Strat. I don't remember exactly what he did, but it's a lot of good stuff out there. So what was the rule I used for D20 on Ks? I don't have a rule for that, but he had it where it was walks on Greg Maddux, where Strat-O-Matic was giving Greg Maddux because of the 50-50 rules. Not everything is going to come off Greg Maddux's card. So even though Greg Maddux gave up hardly no walks in 1997, maybe like 15 or 17 walks all season, the game would create more walks because half the results are off the batter card. And if the batter card shows a walk, there was really no provision for Greg Maddox's control factor to come into play. So I suggested to him to roll the D20 after the roll was over. And if it rolled a certain amount, like 15 or higher or 13 or higher or something like that, then you call it a 2-ball count and redo the at-bat just to try to minimize the number of walks that he would get. But, hey, there's, like I say, play the game the way you want to play it, and don't worry about it. Hey, Chuck, and hello, Praise. Good to see all of you. But no, for me personally, on D20, if it's a strikeout, it's a strikeout. I don't have anything on there that alters that whatsoever. All right, so let's get back to business here. Oakland and the Yankees. Like I said, it's game 325. Yankee Stadium. Singles are 1-7. Home runs are 1-9. Lefties 1-8. Righties. Game 325. The first game on May 31st, 1987. Starting pitchers Dennis Eckersley and Tommy John. This will be Dennis Eckersley's second and last start of the season. He will go permanently to the bullpen after this, but this is his second and last start. Tommy John, he also gets the start as well, left-hander. So with the left-hander on the mound, Hot Dog Jackson is on the bench, and Ron Say is going to be at third base with Terry Steinbach doing the DH duty. So Carney Lansford and Reggie Jackson are both on the bench for this game. This was a Sunday, May the 31st, and a lot of times on Sundays, teams will rest their regular players. And Steinbach, as a catcher, caught the Saturday night game, so they're going to DH him to rest him for the Sunday game and use Mickey Tettleton behind the plate. And I think Cerrone caught the previous game for the Yankees, so Joel Skinner is going to catch the game today. And I believe this might be the first start of Bobby Meacham all season. Usually we've been wearing Wayne Tollison out because they had no other shortstops. But now that they have Bobby Meacham there, his arrival from Columbus was recent, and his departure back to Columbus won't take long, but it's coming up. But he's right here now. He is the starting shortstop for E29, so obviously not very good. All right, let's look at the records for these two pitchers. Tommy John enters the game 3-2. Dennis Eckersley 3-3. Wild pitch ratings for Tommy John. He's a 10 wild pitch, a 0 balk. Eckersley a 2 wild pitch and a 0 balk. Pitcher-catcher hold quotients. Tommy John's a 0. Joel Skinner's a 0, so therefore you have a 0. Eckersley's a -2, but Tettleton's a +1 for overall -1. Neither catcher much on pass balls, a 2 for Tettleton and a 1 for Skinner. Yankees come in 32-16. Oakland comes in 26-21. So I think that's enough preliminaries. Get the game up on the computer and get this thing going. Because I found out now that if I don't score the game on the computer as I play it, I tend to get a little bit out of my zone. So even though it may seem like it's an extra burden to do it, it actually keeps me focused and on place. So we're going to go to that. And again, the game tomorrow will be from Cleveland. Milwaukee at Cleveland will be the game tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, you got the actual doubleheader where Minnesota plays Detroit in Detroit for an actual real doubleheader, and we will play that doubleheader on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, you've got Boston at Chicago. And then on Friday, you have Texas at Kansas City. Seattle at Baltimore and California at Toronto will be played offline to get those games out of the way. And then that will finish the May 31st date, finish the month of May. We play the game on Saturday, the May 31st National League game between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. That wraps up the month of May. And then on Saturday night, maybe I'll probably record something and post it Sunday, an actual recap of the season so far, up to date, all the stats up to date. I'll show you on the computer the standings. I'll show you the league leaders. I'll show you the stats for every team. I'll break down every American League team, show you the stats on that. I'll briefly show you the National League standings because that's going to be determining who goes to the playoffs and whatnot. So looking forward to that, and then starting off June fresh the following week. So that's the long-term plan. I mean, of course, plans always change. You never know. I mean, you can make a plan and then things happen. So, all right. So finally now we get to head to Yankee Stadium. And before we do, I get my one more sip of coffee while it's still piping hot, because coffee is best enjoyed hot. And Jeff, that is good coffee. All right, back to our standard colored dice for this one. And stepping into the box is Tony Phillips. Now, Tommy John on the real season was 13-6 with a 4.03 ERA. On the replays, 3-2 with a 3.07 earned run average, 56 innings pitched, 54 hits, 15 walks, and 16 strikeouts. Tony Phillips, second baseman, will lead off for the A's. Phillips is hitting .245 on the replay, 3 homers, 18 driven in. He hit .240 real world. And we're underway from the Bronx. 1-9, and that's a leadoff walk. Look at all those walks that Tony Phillips has against lefties. That's a lot of walks. Now, he walked 57 times, but most of his walks look like it's going to fill up column 1 here. But there we go, leadoff walk to Tony Phillips. Not sure that's what Tommy John wanted, but that's what he's got. Now, he's a 0 hold factor, so if you try to get the lead, it would be a 1-13, so they're going to attempt it. Now, 2 or a 6, 7, 8, he gets the lead. A 10, he gets picked off. Anything else, he's just going to have to hold. That's a 4, so he did not get the lead, so he will have to hold. And that'll bring up shortstop Alfredo Griffin. Typically, he had been batting more in the 9th position, but Tony La Russa has bumped him up to the number 2 spot. Now, he is an A bunter, so to me, that's a logical move that Tony La Russa wanted him to bunt, or want him to hit and run and bunt. That's why you put him in that 2nd spot. So I'm going to follow suit with Tony La Russa. I don't like to bunt very often, but I'm going to bunt this time around. So we're going to, we already did the havoc roll. So the infield is going to be in on a 1, 2, 3, and it's going to be back on a 4, 5, 6. The infield is in, or corners are in, I should say. So he becomes a B bunter. So we go to the B bunting chart, and we're going to check to see who fields it. The white die tells us. That's a 4, so that says it's going to Don Mattingly at first base. And he's a B bunter, so anything 9 or less, he's going to be in good shape. That's a 6. That's defense. So now we got an interesting situation. Batter drops down a bunt, and the defense has the option for throwing the batter out at first. Well, the runner speed, Phillips is a 15. That's pretty good speed. But Mattingly is a 1 fielder, so that's something to keep in mind. That's why it was huge that it went to him instead of somebody else. We're going to take the running speed -4 plus the fielder's rating. So the running speed is a 15, -4 the 11, and the +1 from Mattingly is a 12. So that means his safe range is 1 to 12. If the Yankees want to take a gamble, they could throw for the force play. They would need a 13 through 20 on the D20 to get the force play. And that's an interesting situation. Hello, Tribe fan, and hello, Joel. So I'll put it up to you guys. Would you take the gamble on the first play of the game to go for the lead runner on this bunt that went too hard and hit the defensive chart? A 1 to 12, he's safe. 13 to 20, he's going to be forced out. So does Mattingly throw to second? Dr. D gives me a yes, that you're going to take the gamble. And if you don't make, if it's a 1 to 12, that means you got first and second, nobody out. So let's see what Tribe fan is saying here. First inning. Try to get the runner at second. Okay. All right. I will do that. I was going to take the shore out, but you know what? I'm a man of the people, as the politicians would say, even though they're not. I'm not getting into politics on either side, so no worries there. Just a quick little quip. So 1 to 12, we got runners on. Now Jeff is saying shore out, so we got multiple decisions here. You know what? I'm going to let the dice decide. 1, 2, or 3, I go for the force. 4, 5, or 6, we take the shore out. How about that? It's a tough call because it's tempting, very tempting to go for that lead runner, but the devil die has just not been cooperating very good. So we're going to see a 1, 2, or 3. They take the shore out. 4, 5, or 6. We're going for the force. That's a 2, so we're taking the shore out. So Mattingly is going to take the shore out. And that's where at least you guarantee. And he's going to flip it over, throw it over to second base for Randolph, who went to cover first base after Mattingly charged. I kind of like that decision because if you don't get him here, you got first and second with the 2 big Bash brothers coming up, and I'd rather minimize the damage. But that's just me. So sometimes I'm a riverboat gambler too, but I try to be sensible about it. And that is good coffee. Good morning, Kathy, to you as well. All right, so they take the shore out at second base, and Mattingly will flip it over to Willie Randolph covering second base. So runner at second, one out for Jose Canseco. So Canseco, and I've dropped one of my dice, and I don't know where it went. Oh, there, it went way under the table. How in the world to roll under there? Tell you what, when you get 60 years old, almost 61, it gets a little harder to bend down under the table and get the dice, that's for sure. Your mind tells you, yeah, just bend down there and get it. Then your body tells you, whoa, wait a minute, Jack. So anyway, here's Canseco. Nothing on the habit. Canseco on the replay is hitting 290, 11 homers, 32 driven in at 257 real world. That's a 6-7 on Tommy John. That's a ground ball second base X. They were not holding Phillips at second, so Randolph will keep his 2E17. 2 and a 13 should be good play, but of course, if the ball hit to the second side, Phillips at worst is just going to make it to third base. 13, and he is a 2. 2 and a 13, which over here is a G1. That's a 9, and he is an E17. E17, there's a 6, 15, 3, and 18, but no 9. So it's a 4-3 ground out, and that will put Phillips to third base, but now there are 2 outs. It's going to take a 2-out hit by McGuire or some sort of a balk, pass ball, or error or something like that to bring him home. So here comes McGuire. Yeah, Tri-Fan, the cold is coming here tonight and tomorrow, that's for sure. Now it's not too bad. Right now it's kind of in the upper 40s, but tonight it's going to be, down yet. There's a frost warning tonight, let's put it that way. And then, of course, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it gets back in the low 60s, back to normal. So just the way it is. Oh, we have a trivia question, top of the third, so get your thinking caps on for that one. Here's McGuire. Hitting 268, 12 homers, 30 driven in. He hit 289 real world. 5-7, and that's a single to left field. They will definitely be sending Phillips. They were not holding him on. He becomes a 16. With 2 outs, it becomes a 18. Left fielder arm is Pasquez, a -1, makes it a 17. McGuire being less than 13 will not take second on the throw, so they will throw home without any kind of retribution of the runner moving up. So it's a 1-17, and he's in there. So it's a RBI single for Mark McGuire. And now you could say if you had gone for the lead runner in the first place, they may not have scored. But then again, had they not gotten the lead runner with that 4-3 ground out, that probably would have been a double. It would have been. You never know what the roles would have done because, as Jeffrey mentioned one time, you have that butterfly effect where everything gets changed around. So with 2 outs and a runner at first, now we have the veteran Ron Cey on his last leg in the major leagues. He is hitting a .152, 2 homers, 3 driven in 66 at bats. He will get, or in the real season, he got 104 at bats and hit 221. So he's, at the end of his baseball career, trying to hang on, but they used him against lefties. 73% of his at bats came against left-handed pitching. That's why he's in there. 110, and that is a strikeout. 110. That is a strikeout for Tommy John, first strikeout of the ball game. But the A's get that run, kind of a manufactured run, small ball, to say the least. Go to the bottom of the first. It is Oakland 1 and the Yankees coming to bat. And Dennis Eckersley getting a second and last start of the season. He will go to the bullpen permanently after this. But he does have a fatigue factor of 5, so he can go certainly 5 innings if he's effective. Let's see what he did in real world. He was 6-8 with a 3.03 ERA, 16 saves. But again, he did have his 2 starts. And his real world ERA was 3.03. In the replay, he is 3-3 with 7 saves and a 2.61 ERA. So, like I said, final start. So keep an eye on that. Henry Cotto will get a rare start in center field. Ricky Henderson is on the roster, but apparently he's kind of dinged up, so they're using, and Cordell Washington's not on the roster. He's on the injured list. So Henry Cotto, another Columbus shuttle guy, is going to lead off for the Yankees. He's 0 for 5 on the replay. In real world, in 149 at-bats, he hit 235. So Henry Cotto in center field for this one. 3-7, and he will strike out. Eckersley gets the K to start the ball game. That'll bring up the veteran Willie Randolph. Randolph on the replay hitting 277, a homer, 18 driven in. He hit 305 real world. Oh, that red die didn't go through. That one red die didn't make it, so I got to re-roll this. There we go. Now we got it right. 1-7. It's ground ball to short. And Alfredo Griffin will handle it easily. 2 up, 2 down for Donnie Baseball. Mattingly is hitting 296 on the replay. 9 homers, 30 driven in. He hit 327 real world. It's 2-4, and that's a ground ball right back to Eckersley. So a very easy inning for Dennis Eckersley. And we go to the second, still 1-0, favor of the A's. Terry Steinbach playing the designated hitter role in this one. And that's where it's dangerous. If your backup catcher, your other catcher is your DH, that means if you want to replace your catcher, you're going to lose your DH if you move Steinbach to the catching position. That's the danger you take when you DH your catcher. So that's what LaRusse is doing. On the replay, 273, 2 homers and 7 driven in. And he hit 284 real world. Steinbach, 6-7, and that's another ground ball second base X. Willie Randolph gets another chance, 2E17. 2 and a 19 is good all day long. 13 and the E17, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Nope, 6-15, 3 and 18. So the 13 is fine, and Randolph will make the play. 1 away, and that will send up Mike Davis, right fielder. Dropped down in the 7th position because he's facing a left-hander. Hitting 301 on the replay, 11 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 265 real world. 26% of his at-bats came against lefties. 2-5, and he grounds it to short for Bobby Meacham. That's 2 up and 2 down. For Mickey Tettleton, the catcher, Tettleton on the replay is hitting 232, 7 homers and 16 driven in. He has really got it going compared to his real world stats. He's already got 7 home runs in 82 at bats. He only hit 8 home runs in 211 at bats and hit a .194. So he's definitely overperformed, to say the least. 4-6, and that's a 1-7 single. That's a 16. So a liner right to Meacham will end the inning. Go to the bottom of the second. Hello, Dan. Good to see you. Bottom of the second we go. 1-0 A's. And Eckersley back out. And he'll be facing DH Gary Ward. Ward's had a good replay recently. He's picked it up. He was struggling big time, but he's really picked it up in the recent games. Gotten his replay average up to 240, 7 homers, 21 driven in. He hit 248 real world. 4-9 for Eckersley is a strikeout. Strikeout number 2 for Eckersley. And that'll bring up Danny Pasqua, the left fielder. Pasqua hitting 254 on the replay, 10 homers, 21 driven in. He hit 233 real world. 4-7, and that's a 1-2 double. 3-20 will be a single for Danny Pasqua. First Yankee hit. And now, on the last day of May in this replay, we have Mr. May, Dave Winfield. For some reason, Piniella drops him all the way to the number 6 position. Not sure why, but that's just where they wanted to play it. Winfield on the replay hitting 265, 10 homers, 28 driven in. He hit 275 real world. Pasqua, no threat to run, will not be held. 5-3, and that's a split chance. 1-8 is a single. That's an 8 right on the dot. So Winfield catches a break on the split chance and connects with a single that squirts through the infield. First and second, One out for Mike Pagliarulo, third baseman. Pags on the replay is hitting 268, 13 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 234 real world. Eckersley looking for that ground ball double play. 5-6, but he gets a strikeout instead. I guess he'll take that. Third strikeout of the ball game. And now here comes Joel Leonard Skinner in a clutch situation. In the clutch for Skinner, he is completely neutral. On the replay, he's hitting 206, 3 homers, 12 driven in. He only hit 137 real world. He's almost at the end of his rope, too, because he's had 102 at-bats, and he only gets 139 in the real season. So he's probably very close to being sent packing as well. So we shall see how long he can hold out. 6-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Griffin. He's a 2E29. 2 and a 17, he'll get to that. E29 and an 8 shouldn't be a problem. Nope, no problem there at all. And that will end the inning. So nothing doing for the Yankees. He put a couple on with a couple of base hits, but nothing comes of it. And we go to the top of the third with the score still Oakland 1, Yankees nothing. And now if you turn your attention to the chat box, Kathy has a trivia question for us. I don't know if it's baseball or culture related, but we'll find out. All right, here it is. He came close to winning a Cy Young in 1979 with a record of 22-11, but lost out to Bruce Sutter, whose record was 6-6 with a caveat. Okay. 79, it was 22-11. Obviously, National League, it was Bruce Sutter. 22-11. Who would have been? I'm not sure what the caveat is on that, but I don't know. Anybody have a guess? You can go for it. It's National League, obviously, because Bruce Sutter was always in the National League. Tri-Fan is guessing the Candyman, John Candelaria. No, we're not getting Candelaria. 79, and he was, what was his record? 22-11 in 1979. It's an Astro. Okay. And he was 22-11. Well, Dan is guessing Necro. Tri-Fan is guessing Richard. It's probably one of those two. I just don't know which one. Are You Ready is guessing the knuckleballer Joe Necro, which sounds like a really good guess, but I don't know. Kathy will have to confirm. Let's see if we get the final answer. As Regis Philbin once said, is that your final answer? Yes. All right. Good job. Joe, what's the caveat, though? Was there a caveat about Necro not pitching? Oh, he had to pitch enough innings if he won 22 games. So what was the caveat on the Bruce Sutter win of the Cy Young? What happened on that particular thing? Did he not pitch enough innings or something, and they gave it to him anyway? Or it's because his ERA was so low and he had so many saves or something? I'm not sure what the particulars were on that. 79 was a great season, though. I know a lot of people have replayed that season already. 37 saves. I guess that was a caveat. You wonder how somebody with a 6-6 record could win a Cy Young, but he saved 37 games, and his ERA was probably way, way low. And yeah, so I could see either side on that. I don't usually agree with giving relief pitchers the Cy Young, though. To me, they got the Rolaids Relief Man Award. That's kind of their thing. To me, Cy Young should go to a starting pitcher, but that's just me. I mean, so I know Willie Hernandez in '84 won a Cy Young with the Tigers. I don't know if anybody else any other reliever has won one, but anyway, great thought-provoking question, Kathy. Thank you for that. So, start the top of the third. And Stan Javier on the replay is hitting 192, 1 homer, 5 driven in. Real world, he hit 185. So he's pretty much right where he needs to be, or right where he should be. That's a 5-7. Switch hitter batting right-handed. It's a single to left field for Stan Javier. Doesn't hit well, but he runs well. So he's definitely going to be looking to swipe a bag here. He needs a 2, 4, 5, 6 to get the lead. A 12 he's picked off, but if he gets the lead, you're looking at a 1 to 13 chance. That's a 6. He gets the lead. He's going to go. So 15 being held to 13. Pitcher catcher quotient is a 0. So it's a straight out 1 to 13. And he's in there. And it's a possible throwing error on Skinner. T8. And Skinner does not throw it away. That's going to be taken up there by Willie Randolph and prevents the overthrow. But Javier gets the stolen base. He's in scoring position with nobody out. And that'll bring up the top of the order. And Tony Phillips, he walked and scored the only run of the game to this point. That's a 2, chance for a balk or pass ball. Now, no balk on John, but his pass ball on Skinner's a 1. So very likely nothing's going to happen here. We're looking at a balk, and he's a 0, so not going to happen. The pitch to Phillips, 3-5, and that's a single to center field. Henry Cotto is a -1 arm, and with Javier was not being held, makes him a 16. The -1 make him a 15. 1 to 15, but if they throw through, Phillips is going to take second on the overthrow because he runs at a 15. Boy, what do you do if you're the Yankees, and what do you do if you're the A's? That's the quandary of playing again, doing the solo game where you're doing both sides. Part of me says for Oakland to send him to force the Yankees to make that decision whether you throw through or cut the throw. Part of me says there's nobody out. Why take any kind of chances? So I don't know. I feel like a riverboat gambler today. So Oakland's going to send him. The question is, will the Yankees throw through, or will they throw it into second and keep the double play in order, or take the risk that a 1 to 15 chance he can score it? 1 to 15, I think it's 75%, if my math is correct. So the Yankees, Henry Cotto says, I better not do anything stupid or I'll get sent back to Columbus. So they're going to allow the run to score. He will throw it into second base to keep Phillips right where he is, where a double play minimizes the damage. So RBI single from Tony Phillips. And the A's take a 2-0 lead. So people can agree or disagree with that particular thing. But all right, so Phillips running event, they have to have at least a 13 speed for me to allow the extra base on the overthrow. I believe Strat says everybody moves up, but I try to keep it a little more realistic. I don't think if you run less than a 13 that you're one of the people that's going to have a lot of speed, that's going to be thinking about moving up. Phillips certainly would, but like Mickey Tettleton runs at a 10 and Ron Say runs at an 8. So nobody's going to tell me Ron Say is going to take the extra base. I mean, nobody's going to tell me that you take the extra base. So anyway, Tony Phillips now trying to get the lead. Now that he's on first base, a 9, he does not get the lead, so he will hold. And Alfredo Griffin, your batter. Now, if they turn a double play here and get out of the inning with just 1 run allowed, it might be a sound strategy. 3-4, and that's a ballpark single check. It's 1 to 7. That's an 11. He's going to pop it up to short, and that's 1 away. Here is Canseco. The way to tell, I guess, if this strategy really paid off is, had he gone to second on the overthrow, would he have scored? Would he score, or would being at first keep him from scoring in this inning? In other words, would he get enough singles that would have scored him? So, but once you make a decision, it's kind of hard to go back and say what if, because you never know how things would turn out all the way. 4-10. Catcher X. So that's going to be Skinner. He's a 2E4. 2 and a 9 for catcher. Check the catcher, 2 and a 9, and that's a 17. So even though he's an E4, this could be an error with those D6s that high. 2 and a 9, showing a P/F. That's a 17, and he's an E4, and there is an error right there. So we go to P/F under the error category. The catcher drops a foul pop-up for an error. Play resumes with the same batter at bat. Okay, so it's going to be an E2. So we'll put an E2 up here just to denote that Skinner dropped that foul pop. So in the computer, I just got to go in and give a one base error to Skinner and keep everybody else where they belong. So nobody moves up, but the error goes on the board. So there we go. Should have been the second out, but he dropped the pop foul. 3-11 for Canseco. It's a fly ball to right field, and that's 2 away. So it will not be an unearned run because they get the out anyway. So any future runs would not be unearned. And here comes Mark McGwire. McGwire singled his first time up. 6-6, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Meacham, a 4E29. Not very good, obviously. 4E29, 4 and a 12 is interesting. He may get to this. 4 and a 12, he does. It's a G3. That's a 9, and he's an E29. E29, there's no 9 there, so he makes the play, and the inning's over. So it looks from the outside looking in that had we tried to get the runner at the plate and him going to second would not have affected anything, but you don't know that going in. There's no way of knowing that. So they're trying to prevent a big inning. And they give up 1 run, but that was it. They're still definitely in the ball game. It's only 2-0, and with their offense, they certainly can score those runs, especially once they get to the bullpen. They get Eckersley out of the game and get to the bullpen. So we go to the bottom of the third, 2-0 A's, and it'll be Bobby Meacham leading things off for the Yankees. Real season, Bobby Meacham was 271 hitter, not bad. 5 home runs, a 271 hitter, 203 at bats. His fielding was obviously a question. In the replays, 1 for 1. He's had 1 at bat since being called up, and he got a hit and RBI out of it. So it's a 3-7, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop. I'm sorry, looking at 6-7. 3-7 is going to be a strikeout for Meacham. Strikeout number 4. So Meacham immediately goes to a 500 hitter now. He's 1 for 2. Against Henry Cotto, 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Eckersley again. 5 strikeouts for Eckersley. He is solidly doing the job. And here's Willie Randolph. 4-6, and that's a 1-5 double. That's an 8. Fly ball to center field, hauled in out there by Javier, and that's going to do it. Easy 1-2-3 inning for Dennis Eckersley. We played 3 at Yankee Stadium, and it's 2-0 Oakland. Start the top of the 4th. We have a trivia question coming in the next inning, top of the 5th. But right now we're in the top of the 4th for Ron Say, the Penguin. 4-10. That's another catcher X. We're going back to Skinner, 2E4. 2 and a 10 for a catcher. 2 and a 10 is going to be a pop out, or a foul out, I should say, unless there's an error. That's a 9. And he's an E4, so I don't think there's a problem with that. No 9 there. So just a P/F with nobody on base. It's simply a foul out. And there's 1 away. 1 down for Terry Steinbach, the designated hitter. That's a 1-8, and that's a 1-11 home run, 12-20. It's a triple. So Terry Steinbach with a triple. The catcher, Terry Steinbach, but he's got a triple in his own card. He had 3 triples real world. And this is the 3rd triple in the replay for Steinbach in just his 101st at bat. He had 3 triples and 391 at bats, but he's going to get a triple here. How do you like that? His 3rd triple of the replay already in just 101 at bats. So the infield for the Yankees will have to come in, and Mike Davis steps to the plate with the infield in. 1-7, and that's a walk. Now this brings up an interesting situation now because you do have the double play in order all of a sudden. Although Mike Davis might be looking to run here and take that double play out of the equation. Nope, he's not going to get the lead, so he's not going to worry about it. So Mickey Tettleton stepping to the plate, but the Yankees don't trust that double play. Mickey Tettleton is more of a fly ball hitter, so the chances of him hitting a double play, in fact, there's only a couple of ground ball A's. Most of his stuff is ground ball B's. So they're going to play back for the double play. They're going to play in, rather. He does have a plus here. Got to avoid that. But other than that, playing in shouldn't hurt them too much. He's got 2 pluses, actually, in column 1. We get a 3-11. That's a 1-2 home run. Anything else he flies to left, it is a B. So it will be a sacrifice fly by Mickey Tettleton to make it 3-0 Oakland. So it didn't matter where the infield was on that one. Tettleton gets the run home, and that's basic baseball right there. Get the runner in from third with less than 2 outs, and he did it with the sacrifice fly. Here's Stan Javier. Davis at first, and 2 outs. 1-4 is a ground ball to third, and that will end the inning. But the Oakland A's get another run, take a 3-0 lead. And these 1 runs here and there don't sound like much, but they certainly, as a cumulative effect, have given a 3-0 lead. And now the New York Yankees have to figure out Dennis Eckersley. They haven't figured him out yet. But maybe Donnie Baseball, who's leading off the inning, will get something done. 4-5. That's a double. That's a good start. Leadoff double for Dennis Eckersley. A leadoff double for Manly, rather. Donnie Baseball. Leadoff double. And here comes the DH, Gary Ward. .58. And it's a strikeout for Eckersley, number 6. Just in the 4th inning. And here is Pasqua. The strikeouts are bad. When you got runners in scoring position, you make an out and you don't even make a productive out. It's a 3-5, and that's a walk, and that'll put runners at first and second. Bring up the Winfield for the tying run. 1 long ball by Winfield, and we're all tied up. But he can also hit into a double play as well. So it could be feast or famine for Mr. May here on this last day of May. It's a 1-9, and he's going to fly to center. That's 2 down. Manley could attempt to go to third, but he doesn't run well, and there's really no point in it at this point. Not worth the risk whatsoever. The juice is not worth the squeeze, as they say. Here is Pagliarulo. 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Eckersley, and that's going to end the inning. 7 strikeouts in 4 innings for Dennis Eckersley. He is solidly getting the job done, and the Oakland A's hold on to a 3-0 lead over the Yankees. As we go to the top of the 5th, and if you turn your attention to the chat box, Kathy has trivia question number 2 for us, and we'll see what that is going to pertain to. See if there's any caveats in it. Let's see here. Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Jim Palmer, Juan Marichal. Three of the have won at least 25 games in a season, at least 3 times in a career. Who didn't even do it once? So Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Jim Palmer, and Juan Marichal. Somebody has not won 25 games. Yeah, I think Jeff's got it. I don't remember Jim Palmer ever winning 25 games. I think Jeff might be onto something there. But we'll see. I mean, it's great question, but I got to believe the other guys. Yeah, Jim Palmer, I think 22 or 23 might have been his most wins. Excellent on the ball there, Jeff, with that fast reply and getting that correctly. And like I said, don't have a Mike's Ice or whatever those things are, but an attaboy will have to suffice. So All right. So that'll bring up Tony Phillips to lead things off against Tommy John. Get a 6-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-7, that's a 19. So he will line it to short with the first out to start the fifth. And I'm definitely going to need this seventh inning stretch because the coffee is definitely getting on the lukewarm side. Here's Alfredo Griffin. Yep, and ready to rock out it as well. Very good. Alfredo Griffin, 3-7. And that is a 1-2 single. That's a 20 lines it. So back-to-back lineouts to Bobby Meacham. 2 away. All right, here's Jose Canseco. 1-8 for Canseco. Struck him out. That's only the second strikeout for Tommy John. He was not much of a strikeout pitcher. He pitched 188 innings, only struck out 63. So striking out 1 every 3 innings is not, that's about where he's at right now. So, but a 1-2-3 inning turned in by Tommy John to keep the score where it is. Go to the bottom of the fifth. And Eckersley, this will be his fatigue inning, so we'll keep an eye on that. Bottom of the order, Skinner, Meacham, and Cotto due up for the Yankees. 4-5, and that's a 1-2 triple. Anything else he flies to left. That's a 3, just missed it. And I would have reduced this down to a double because he had no triples, and it's just not realistic to me that Joel Skinner would get a triple. So fortunately, he makes the out anyway, so don't have to make that decision. It's a fly out to left. And Seiko ran it down. And there will be no extra base hit. Here's Bobby Meacham. He's now hitting 500, 1 for 2 after the strikeout in the third inning. 3-8, and he's going to draw a base on balls. Meacham will walk. And for Eckersley, that is his second walk. Meacham down 3-0, and he just doesn't, and the -1 from Eckersley, he'll be held, but he's not going to go anywhere. And here is Henry Cotto. Cotto is struck out twice. 6-3, ground ball pitcher X. Possible double play coming up right here. Eckersley is a 3-13. Possible double play. Well, 3-8 is going to take that away. It's probably a fielder's choice now. 3-8. Actually, it's going to be the only play is to first base. So it's a 3-8 is a G3. That's a 9, and he is an E13. There is no 9 there. So it's going to be a ground out to Eckersley with Meacham taking second base. But now there are 2 outs. So he probably thought about trying for the force play, but realized it better take the shore out. 2 outs, runner in scoring position for Willie Randolph in a clutch situation. And Jeff, I hope you don't take offense to me using your clutch situation terminology. I just thought it was cool. So I see something I like, I use it. And hopefully it doesn't bother anybody else. Here's Randolph. 6-5, and that's a strikeout for Eckersley, and that is number 8. And he will keep almost full endurance into the 6th. Yankees get a walk, but nothing else. We go to the top of the 6th, still 3-0 Oakland. Tommy John. This is his fatigue inning, number 6. Well, thank you, Jeff. I really liked. That was one of the things that when I first started listening, when you were doing your broadcast, that's one of the things that popped in my mind that stuck with me. So I decided to use it. All right, here is Tommy John against McGuire. We do have a trivia question in the top of the 7th. So after the 6 innings over, we will look for the third trivia question from Kathy. Here's McGuire, 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're back to Randolph, 2E17. 2-5, that's going to be interesting, but I think he's okay with that. 2-5, G3, nobody's on base to be held, so that's going to be fine. That's a 14, and he is an E17. There's a 15 there, but that's a 14, so he avoids the potential error and throws out Mark McGuire. 1 away, and that'll bring up the Penguin Ron Say. Say is 0 for 2. 5-3 is a ground ball pitcher X right back to Tommy John. He's an E38. He is a 3E38. So this could be interesting. 3-1. That's going to get through for a base hit. How about that? That double die shows up and helps the Penguin gets himself a base hit based on that. So a 3-1 is going to be a single. Now we'll check for an error. That is a 13, and he is an E38. So E38, there's a 13 right here. So not only will it be a single, but it'll be an error on top of it. And Ron Say will take second base on the error. So as I visualize this, Tommy John reached out, was able to knock it down, and then trying to hurry the throw to get Say, he threw it away. So they credit Say with a single and then an error, allowing Say to get to second base. That's not, I mean, who knows what happened? That's just in my mind's eye what happened. And you can, that's the beauty of that. You can kind of visualize things on your own, in your own mind's eye, what is happening. Here's Steinbach, the DH. He tripled and scored his last time up. That's a 3-7, and he will strike out. Third strikeout for TJ. That was a very fortunate strikeout for him. It came in a really good time with a runner at second base. And now in a clutch situation for Mike Davis, lefty on lefty. And he will lose a hit on 3-10. Everywhere else he is neutral. He's got to avoid a 3-10 for sure. That's 2-5, and it's a ground ball to Meacham, and that will do it. So TJ will keep a little bit of endurance as well into the seventh inning. We go to the bottom of the sixth. It's still 3-0 favor of the Oakland A's. Eckersley back out. He'll be facing the heart of the order, Mattingly, Ward, and Pasqua, 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Mattingly doubled his last time up. Oh, that red die didn't go through, so let's re-roll everything. My house rule is all 4 dice have to be in the tray, flat, for it to count. Anything doesn't get through, anything that's tilted, or anything that gets popped out, it's a total re-roll. That's just my house rule, and that's the beauty of the game. You can make the house rules the way you wish. 4-8, lefty. 1-12 is a single. That's a 15, though, so it's going to line it right to Phillips. And there's one away. That's the beauty of not only Strat-O-Matic, but the other games in this hobby is you can customize them to fit your style. The only thing I would suggest is making sure that you're consistent. So if you ruled it one way one time, it's always helpful to keep that same ruling and not flip-flop back and forth. So here's Gary Ward, struck out twice. 3-2, that's a split chance. 1-14 is a single, but that's an 18. Boy, they're getting some bad double die rolls. Line out to short. Double die has cost him quite a few of these split chance hits. Here's Pasqua. He's 1 for 1 with a single and a walk. That's a 5-9, and that's a fly to center to end the inning. So Eckersley, don't know realistically how many innings he would have gone. I think we'll cap him at 7. I'm not going to push him past 7 because realistically, I just don't. I think we might cap him at 6. Actually, I think to be realistic, we're going to cap him at 6 because he's a relief pitcher making his only a second start. So I don't think he's stretched out all that much. So we're going to cap him at 6 innings. I just think that's the most realistic thing to do. Even though Strat says he has endurance, I just think being realistic, it'd be better to do it this way. And they'll turn it over to the bullpen. But to get 6 shutout innings from Eckersley, I mean, LaRussa is very ecstatic about that. So 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, obviously, 2 walks, and he struck out 8. So Eckersley, a really good yeoman work there to get that done. And we will now go to the top of the 7th. Turn your attention, if you will, to the chat box, and Kathy will have trivia question number 3 for us. See if we can deliver on an answer for that one. All right, names the same. He was our 18th president. He was the first black pitcher in AL to win 20 games in a season and first to win a World Series game. All right, AL. All right, 20 games, AL. That's a thought-provoking one, huh? 20-game winner, World Series game. That's got some thoughts to it. In the American League, don't forget. So that means that, Bob Gibson, Ferguson Jenkins, any guy like that's not going to be in there because they're National League. And it also has to be the name of the 18th. Well, if you know the name of the 18th president, you can get it right away. I don't know the name of the 18th president off the top of my head, so that wouldn't be a good move for me. Jeff is usually good with politics. See if he comes up with an answer. I wonder what year it was. Let's see. Still trying to think. Who would it be? Oh, probably Earl Wilson, if I had to guess, from Detroit. That's my guess, and I'm sticking to it. Earl Wilson. I don't know if Woodrow Wilson was the 18th president or not, but I'm guessing Earl Wilson. That's going to be my guess. I'm not good with presidential history, though. But I do remember Earl Wilson pitching for the Tigers in '68. No, he's on the Twins. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that gives it away. I won't answer anymore because I know that gives it away. So I will not answer anymore. I'll let someone else do that. If someone wants to chime in. Apparently got everybody stumped, Kathy. Nobody's venturing a guess here for the Twins. 20-game winner and a World Series winner game. Well, obviously, the only World Series they would have been in back then would have been in 1965. So who was pitching back in 1965? Got to go through that process. Mudcat Grant. There you go, Mudcat Grant. Very good. Mariners fan got it at the end. Mudcat Grant. Very good. So Ulysses S. was the 18th president. Obviously, Wilson came much, much later. I don't know what Wilson might have been like the 30th president or something for all I know. I don't know the order there. Not a big historian when it comes to presidential stuff. But thank you for that trivia question, Kathy. Oh, this coffee has gotten really, really lukewarmness. So definitely looking forward to the 7th inning stretch so I can heat the coffee. All right. I think his name she gave it. It's Jim. Okay. I was thinking his real name was Jim. I'm not sure where he got the mud. Maybe that's a different trivia question. How he got the name Mudcat. That could be a story all on its own, I guess. All right, let's move this over just a touch so we can get these cards in here. All right, so Mickey Tettleton will lead off the top of the 7th against TJ. Yankee bullpen is loosening. And if you remember the last game, Rich Bordy pitched a few innings. But this one, Ron Guidry is loosening in the bullpen. Remember, he pitched about 3 or 4 relief outings before he started back in the rotation. So Ron Guidry is loosening in the bullpen. Here's Tettleton, 3-6, and that's a leadoff walk for Tettleton. So Piniella might be looking to make that move very shortly. Tommy John might be fading just a bit. Tettleton will not be held, but Javier is an A bunter and a number 9 hitter. So to me, it screams sacrifice bunt. So, and this time, I believe I'm not even going to roll the D6 to see if they're in or out. The Yankees are going to play in. With number 9 hitters, they are expecting that to be a sacrifice bunt. So nothing on the havoc. So who fields the bunt? It's going to be a number 5. So let's go to the bunt chart. Number 5. Number 5 is the first baseman, Mattingly. He is a B bunter. So again, needs a 1 to 9. A 4, and that's speed. So how about that? So a speed check. He has a chance to beat this out. He runs at a 15. So batter lays down a good bunt. Roll a 20-side dive, falls within the running range. It's a single. So 1 to 15, and he beats this out for a base hit. And he does, right on the number, 15. Ironically, had they been playing back, that would have been a sacrifice. But the way the chart is there, he's going to beat this out for a base hit. Yankees kind of got a bad break there. But that's just the way the dice go. And here's Tony Phillips. Phillips is not a good bunter. This would be a great time to bunt, but he's a C bunter. So they might try it anyway. We're going to see if the corners are in. Actually, you know what? Yeah, they're going to play. Let's see if the corners are in. They are not in. Corners are not in. So he's going to lay down the bunt. He's a C bunter, so they're going to try it. They're going to see if he can get the bunt down. The bunt goes right back to Tommy John. He is a C bunter. So we're looking right here. He's a 1 to 8. That's a 2, so that's a good sacrifice. So they got the bunt down. Sacrifice hit's going to go 1 to 3 because they didn't have the corners in, so Mattingly's back at first to field it. But now second and third after that sacrifice hit. And now that brings up Alfredo Griffin. The infield has come in for this at bat for Alfredo Griffin. And forced to bring the infield in. 5-6, and that's a fly ball center field B. It's a sacrifice fly to center, and boy, Oakland A's just manufactured another run small ball. I don't usually like to play small ball, but boy, the situations just seem to dictate it. And so it's a sacrifice fly, and it's 4-0 Oakland. And here is Canseco. TJ. That's a 2 for a chance of a balk or pass ball. We're looking at a balk on John, but I think he has a 0 balk rating. He does. So there is no balk. Canseco in the clutch will gain a hit on 110. Everywhere else, he is neutral. That's a 5-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Randolph. Randolph was holding Javier on at first base, so he will become now a 3E17. See if it makes a difference. 3 and a 14 doesn't make a difference either way. 2 and a 14 and a 3 and a 14 are both going to be, with 2 outs, it doesn't matter. G1, G2, it's irrelevant. But that 17 could be a problem. He's an E17 with a 17. But he gets a break. 15 and 18 are errors, but not 17. So Randolph will make the play to end the inning, and that'll do it for Tommy John. But the A's get single runs in 4 different innings and take a 4-0 lead as we go to the 7th inning stretch here at Yankee Stadium. And, of course, due to coffee considerations, I'm going to be taking a 7th inning stretch break. Look at the line score, 4-6-0 for the Yankees, for the Oakland A's, 0-3-2 for Oakland. And Oakland will need a new pitcher, by the way, so I need to obviously go to the bullpen before we do the 7th inning stretch so I can figure out who they're going to use. Who's going to come in relief is the question. Looks like it's going to be Gene Full Nelson. So Gene Nelson, 6-5 with a 3.93 ERA and 3 saves on the real season. On the replays, 3-0 with no saves and a 4.09 ERA. 33 innings pitched, 45 hits, 15 walks, and 32 strikeouts. So Gene Nelson. And we could close the book on Tommy John. He goes 7 innings pitched, gives up 6 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned. He ends up walking 1, 2, 3, and he ends up striking out 3. But he's on the hook to drop to 3-3. Eckersley would improve to 4-3 unless the Yankees rally. And of course, speaking of you can't have a rally without Dave Winfield starting the whole thing. So he's there, and we're in the 7th inning. So looks like almost guaranteed we'll pinch hit for Skinner and Meacham, most likely. once you get there. But where we're at right now is the 7th inning stretch. And, of course, that means heating my coffee, and it also means taking me out to the ball game, just so you have something in the background to listen to instead of dead air. So 7th inning stretch time here at Yankee Stadium with the score, Oakland 4 and the Yankees nothing. All right, we are back, and coffee is warmed up, and we're all ready to roll. Going to this bottom of the 7th. Leading things off will be Mr. May, Dave Winfield. He'll be followed by Pagliarulo and a pinch hitter for Skinner. Look at the Yankee bench. They do have Ron Kittle. He's the most likely guy to pinch hit. They don't have much else. I guess you could pinch hit with Cerrone, who's 243, and use Kittle to pinch hit for Meacham. Maybe that's what they'll do. So Cerrone would pinch hit for Skinner. Kittle would pinch hit for Meacham, and Tollison would go in and play short after the fact. That's what the plan is, but we'll see what happens. Dave Winfield's got to get something started for the Yankees against Gene Nelson. 1-2 for Winfield. 1-18 is a single. That's a good start. So Winfield, 2 for 3. Mr. May coming through again. Got to start somewhere. You're down by 4 runs. You got to start somewhere. So here's Pagliarulo. Nelson is a -3 with a +1, so he's a -2, but I don't think the Yankees are looking to run right now. So here's Pags. Ricky Henderson is on the injured list, so he's not available. Here's Pags. 4-5, and that's a pop out to first base, 1 away. I believe there's one player carded, or one player on the Yankees that's not carded, but he's a very marginal player. Actually, he's not even on there anymore. Nope, it's just Cerrone, Tollison, Kittle, and Sakata. That's the 4 guys they have on the bench. So that's all we got to work with. So Pags is out of there. Skinner will leave, and Rick Cerrone will come on and pinch hit and then turn over and catch in the 8th inning. 243 hitter. That's better than a 137 hitter any day of the week. So Rick Cerrone will pinch hit and stay in the game to catch. Will Rick Cerrone. Rick Cerrone, the New York Yankee treat. Pinch hit in the 7th, catch in the 8th. So let's see what he's doing on the replay. Cerrone. Mustache and all. He is hitting 284 on the replay. It's 243 real world, but on the replay, 284 with 2 homers and 11 driven in. So Rick Cerrone up to pinch hit against Gene Nelson. 4-12, and that's a ground ball pitcher B, so they're gonna get a fielder's choice out of that. Cerrone will be the new runner at first base. Now with 2 outs, they will pinch hit from Meacham with Ron Kittle. And then Tollison will take over to play shortstop in the 8th. So Kittle will come on and pinch hit. And Tollison will take over at shortstop in the 8th inning. So you don't have Bobby Meacham to push around anymore. Not in this game, anyway. That leaves Len Sakata. He is the last bench player remaining. So Cerrone with that fielder's choice. And now they bring in Ron Ma and Paul Kittle to pinch hit for Meacham. Kittle on the replay. Well, first of all, Kittle on the real season was a 277 hitter with 12 home runs and just 159 at bats, so he's definitely got the pop. On the replay, he's hitting 325, 7 home runs, and 20 driven in, so he definitely can make an impact with one swing of the bat. That's a 6-6, though. It's a 1-4 is a double. That's a 1. The double die shows up as a 1, so we got a double from Ron Kittle. The problem is Rick Cerrone is your runner at first base. I know he wasn't held, but he runs at a 10. Was not held, makes him 11. 2 outs makes him a 13. And the double goes to center field. -1 to 12. It'd be a 1-12. 1-12 to score him. But you're down 4-0. And you do have Henry Cotto coming up next. Man, do you send him or not on a 60%? I think you have to send him. I think you have to send him here. You got to try to get a run across the board. So it's a 1-12 to score it because Cotto is terrible. You're waiting on Cotto to get a hit. You're going to be waiting a long time. So 235 hitter. So would you rather have a 60% chance of scoring or a 23.5% chance scoring? So to me, it's a no-brainer. 1-12, you got to send him. And he's in there. So it paid off. But again, I think that was just, you had to do it. Kittle only runs at a 9, so he cannot take the extra base on the double. But it will be an RBI double from Ron Kittle. So the pinch hitting move pays off on the RBI double from Ron Kittle. Cuts the lead to 4-1. And here comes Henry Cotto, but they have nobody else to hit, so you're stuck with him. In a clutch situation, in the clutch, he gains a hit actually on 310. 2-7 though, he comes through. 2-7, the 1-4 double. That is a 4, so it's an RBI double from Henry Cotto. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-2 ball game. And now Tony La Russa is looking a little bit miffed as Gene Nelson got the first couple outs pretty quickly, but now he's running into issues. And they have left-hander Dave Leeper loosening in the bullpen, getting ready for Mattingly. So Nelson, his last batter face is going to be Randolph. If he doesn't get Randolph, he's done. Cotto at second base not being held. Here's the pitch to Randolph. That's a 3-10 for Randolph, and that's a fly to center to end the inning. But the Yankees score 2 and cut the lead to 4-2 as we head to the 8th inning. So we got to make the changes on the computer. Rick Cerrone will come in to catch, or stay in the game to catch, I should say. And Tollison will come in and play shortstop. And that will leave Len Sakata as the lone bench player remaining. And coming in for the Yankees to pitch will be Ron Guidry. Or will they go to somebody else? There's right-handers up there, but Stoddard's overused and tired. Bordy is tired from his last outing. So you're looking at either Bob Shirley or Ron Guidry. So they're going with Guidry. Ron Guidry it is, out of the bullpen. Guidry, 5-8 with a 367 earned run average and no saves. On the replay, he's 1-0 with no saves and 3 innings pitched. Only 1 hit allowed, no walks and 4 strikeouts, ERA of 0. So Guidry coming on in a 4-2 game in the 8th inning. He's a +2 hold. Let's see, the hold rating for Cerrone, the new catcher, is a -1, so that makes him a +1 on the hold factor. And he'll be starting out facing Mark McGwire. And one of the reasons why you bring in a lefty Guidry is you force, not really force, but it doesn't encourage Tony La Russa to bring in those lefties off the bench to pinch hit. You're going to stick with a guy like Ron Cey out there. So that's one of the subtle things you do with bringing in a lefty. 4-8, and that's bad news for Guidry. 1-14 is a double. That'll be a leadoff double for Mark McGwire. And that'll bring up Ron Cey, designated hitter, or third baseman rather, not designated hitter. He's 1 for 3. It's a 6-9 for Guidry, and that's a 1-6 single, and that's a 3. So a base hit there by Cey puts runners at the corners. And boy, Guidry, maybe he didn't have it. Now we got runners at the corners and nobody out. And down 4-2, you have to play in. You can't afford it. You can't afford to trade 2 outs for a run right now. You just can't afford it this late in the game. So they're going to play the infield in. Infield is in. 4-5, right-handed is a 1 single. Anything else, he lines to second. So that's a liner. I'm sorry, to short. So he lines it to Tollison for the first out, and nobody moves up. Now you're in a position lefty on lefty with Mike Davis. Do you play the infield in or do you play back for the double play? Man, that's a tough call. They're going to play back. They're going to play for the double play. They're going to play for the double play. They got the chance now with 1 out to get out of the inning with the double play. So that's what they're going for. 5-11 is a ground ball first base X. That's Mattingly. Chance for the double play perhaps. Double dies a 20, so he's definitely a G1. And let's check for the error. That's an 11, and Mattingly's an E6. E6, there's no 11. It'll be a 3-6-3 double play. And playing back for the double play was the right call, as that ends the inning, and Guidry gets out of it. Thanks to the Gold Glove-type performance of Don Mattingly. And I would say other than maybe Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, probably the best fielding first baseman that I've seen in my lifetime, other than Keith Hernandez. He definitely was slick with the glove, no doubt. All right, so we go to the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Mattingly, Ward, and Pasqua. And let's see if Leeper, maybe he's the only lefty out there, so I don't want to overuse him. Let me make sure he hasn't been overused. Let's see what we got here for Leeper. Yeah, he's tired. He's been overused, so I can't really use Leeper. So Leeper's not an option. Lamp, Plunk, and Howell are all options. Or I can stick with Gene Nelson. So they're going to start it out with Gene Nelson, but Jay Howell is loosening in the bullpen. But they're going to see if Nelson can eke out one more inning for him. And he's going to start it out with Donnie Baseball. 4-2, Oakland, bottom of the 8th. That's a 4-10, and that's a fly center field X. We're looking at Javier. He's a 2-E7. 2-17, he'll get to that all day long. E7, and that is a total of 11. There is no 11 there. It's a good play for Javier. So a big first out to get for Mr. Nelson. That'll send up Gary Ward. 0 for 3 is Ward. 4-5, and that is a fly ball to right field. Mike Davis puts it away, 2 down. And that'll send up Danny Pasqua. 110, and that's a single chance right there, or not a chance, but an actual single. Just missed a home run, but it would be a single. And now the tying run is at the plate in Dave Winfield, and Tony La Russa is not messing around anymore. He's going straight for the closer. And that is Mr. Jay Howell, who is rested. So Jay Howell will be coming on to pitch for the A's. Let's see, Nelson's going to go an inning and 2/3. He is going to give up at least 2 runs, maybe 3. 4 hits, no walks, and no strikeouts. So Jay Howell was, let's bring him in on the computer, get his replay stats. Jay Thurston Howell III. Howell in the real season was 3-4 with 16 saves and a 5.89 ERA. On the replay, he's 1-1 with 7 saves and an ERA of an even 4. He's pitched 18 innings, given up 13 hits, 16 walks, and 15 strikeouts. So Jay Howell will be on as a 0 hold, makes him a +1. And Winfield, not a clutch situation, just runner on first with 2 outs for Winfield. So Howell looking to secure save number 8 on the replay if he can close this out in this inning and the 9th. 4-10, and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Ron Say's a 4.23. Maybe should have brought in Lansford here, but they're going to leave Say out there. 4.23. 4-8. This may get passed. We'll see. 4-8. It does not. 4-8's a G3. So he will get to it. That's an 8, and he is an E23 at third base. There is no 8, so Ron Say will make the play and end the inning. And a nice job there turned in by Howell to get out of the jam. Complete the book on Nelson now, giving him charge him with those 2 runs. But now we go to the top of the 9th, and we have a trivia question from Kathy. Trivia question number 4 on the day. So as Ron Guidry does his warm-up tosses, turn your attention to the chat, and we'll see what Kathy has for us in the trivia realm. Who did not reach 4,000 strikeouts in their career? Carlton, Seaver, Clemens, or Ryan? Yeah, I want to say Seaver didn't, but I think Jeremiah, Jeffrey, and Rob all have it correct with Seaver. But that's my guess. And now Dan also, everybody seems to be chiming in on Seaver. I'm assuming that is correct, but we'll wait for Kathy for the confirmation to make sure it's correct. And it is. Okay, cool. Good deal. Thank you, Kathy, for all 4 of those trivia questions, particularly the one with the caveat. You don't hear the caveat used very often. It's one of those words like behoove or something that you don't see used in everyday language. All right, so top of the 9th, and I realized that the cards, in order to show the dice tower, the cards in column 6 and column 3 are getting cut off. If I roll a 3 or a 6, I will slide the cards over. But I like to keep this open as much as I can so you can see what's happened during the game. So here's Mickey Tettleton, and we get a 6-8. 6-8 for Mickey Tettleton is going to be a leadoff walk against Guidry. So a leadoff walk to Tettleton. And now Javier in an obvious bunt situation, so the corners will be in. I'm not even going to roll for it because it's just too obvious of a situation that they would do that. So corners by default will come in. Makes him a B bunter. Nothing on the Havoc. So let's see who fields it. It's a 4, so I believe that's going back to Mattingly again. Yep, Mattingly will get the fielding chance here with the corners in. And if it's a good bunt, he'll just end up tagging the runner coming up the base. He won't throw it to second. B bunter. That's a 9, and that's going to be a good sacrifice. So 3 unassisted on the sacrifice hit. And going to second base is Tettleton. So lots of small ball going on from Tony La Russa. But it's been paying off for the most part. It's been producing runs. Here's Tony Phillips. Phillips is 1 for 2 on the day. He's walked, has sacrificed bunt. He's singled and lined to short. 3-9 for Phillips, and that's a single to left field. Telton does not run well at all, so they will hold him at third base. So runners are at the corners with only one out, and Alfredo Griffin, the batter. What do you do with Griffin? Do you play in or do you play back for the double play? Griffin's a pretty swift runner. Not a whole lot of double play chances on his card. Actually, there are. I see some A's here. So we're going to play back for the double play. Phillips. Could he try to get the lead, though? He may try to get the lead here. He needs a 2, 6, 7, or 8 to get the lead. That's a 7. He gets the lead. He's going to go 15, being held as a 13, but the plus 1 makes it a 14. So 1 to 14, he's going to go. And he's got caught stealing. Wow. What a throw by Cerrone. Just nails him. Randolph with the tag. So that certainly helps the situation if you are the New York Yankees. A gamble taken by Oakland, and it didn't pay off. So now there are 2 outs and a runner at third for Alfredo Griffin. It is now a clutch situation. Griffin in the clutch is completely neutral. That's a 1, though. Chance of a wild pitch on Guidry. And how about that? Wouldn't that be something if we did all that to get out of the inning, to get the runners off base and ends up wild pitching in a run? His wild pitch rating is a 5. No wild pitches blocked by Cerrone. So again, Cerrone making the good play. Keeps everything in front of him. And here's Griffin. 6-10 for Guidry. Ballpark single check. That's a 9, but the singles are only a 7. So he's going to fly it to center field to get out of the inning. So Ron Guidry, not the best relief out in the world, but he gave up no runs, which is what counts. He goes 2 innings, gives up no runs. He does give up 2 hits, actually 3 hits. And he walks 1, doesn't strike anybody out. But he keeps the A's where they are, and that's the most important part. As we go to the bottom of the 9th, last chance for the Yankees against Jay Howell, the closer. It'll be Pagliarulo, Cerrone, and Tolleson. Pagliarulo, Cerrone, and Tolleson due up for the Yankees. This is where the Yankees miss guys like Ricky Henderson and Claudel Washington, who would be perfect pinch hitters at this point, but they don't have them. So have to try to get by with what they have. 2-5. That's a ground ball to first. 1 away. McGuire takes it to the bag himself. 1 down for catcher Rick Cerrone. This will be his first at bat since coming. No, I'm sorry. He had a fielder's choice, so it's his second at bat. Not bad. He's 0 for 1. 6-9 for Howell, and that's a strikeout for Jay Howell. He strikes out Cerrone. 2 down, and now here's Tolleson for his first at bat since coming in as a defensive replacement. Tolleson on the replay is only hitting 196. 2 homers and 15 driven in. He hit 221 real world. The only guy left on the bench is Sakata, but he only hits lefties. He doesn't hit righties at all. Plus, he's not ready to play shortstop. So, kind of stuck with Tolleson here. And hope he gets on and gets it over to – they hope to get down to Mattingly, but that's a long stretch to get there. 4-11, switch hitter batting left-handed is a fly ball left field X. So we're looking at Canseco. 3-9, Canseco can end the ball game with a good catch. 3-9. 3-12, he'll get to it. It's just a matter of the error. 3-12 is a good play. That's a 7, and he is an E9. E9, there's no 7. Canseco makes the catch, and there's your ball game. The Oakland A's take out the New York Yankees by the score of 4-2. Jay Howell will get the save. Probably have to give, I would give the player of the game to Eckersley for his 6 shutout innings. To me, he is the player of the game, making that spot start and turning in a performance like that. What that'll do now is put the Yankees at 32-17, put Oakland at 27-21. Eckersley, your winner, he goes to 4-3. Jay Howell picks up save number 8 as he goes an inning and a third and gives up nothing with a strikeout. And let's see, the loser is Tommy John. He drops to 3-3. Final line score, 4 runs, 9 hits, and no errors for the Oakland A's, 2 runs, 7 hits, and actually 2 errors for the Yankees. So game 325 is in the books, with the Oakland A's defeating the Yankees by the score of 4-2. And I had a new tape process where instead of trying to tape the corners to keep the score sheet in place, I put 2 things of tape on the back side of the score sheet and made a little ball out of it, and that helped keep the thing in place. So now we flip the score sheet over, and the next game tomorrow, game 326, will be from Cleveland, the mistake by the lake. It'll be Juan Nieves and the Milwaukee Brewers against Greg Swindell and the Cleveland Indians. That'll be the game tomorrow. Of course, on Wednesday, there is an actual double header. Detroit and Minnesota from Tiger Stadium. We'll play both games back-to-back on Wednesday morning. So I'll probably start that maybe a half hour earlier, because on Wednesday I do want to finally get out and start tackling some of these leaves. We had a big storm go through last night. The leaves that were remaining in the front yard trees have all blown off. So now the whole yard is covered with the entire gamut of leaves from all the trees. So when I go to pick these up, I shouldn't have to come back again and do it again. So, and it's supposed to be good weather now. Today and tomorrow are going to be windy and cold, so no sense there. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all supposed to be great weather days, even Saturday. So I've got 3 or 4 days. It won't take me that long to do the front yard. Now, the backyard is a different story, but the backyard is different because you can't see that from the road. Nobody knows what's back there but me. I mean, I still want to get the leaves up, but it's not as much of a rush as it is from the front yard where it'll blow in other people's yards. The backyard is completely fenced in. So whatever is falling in the backyard is going to stay in the backyard. It's not blowing on anybody else's property. So that's what the plan is ahead. Now, if you like the Yankees or don't like the Yankees, I don't know. But tonight, Demolition League, we're going to be game 51 will be back in New York, but it'll be the 2024 Yankees taking on the 2024 Padres. Marcus Stroman for the Yankees against Matt Waldron for the Padres. It'll be game number 51. That will be tonight around 9 o'clock, maybe 8:30ish. I don't know, sometime in there. Might do it early. Might bump it up to 8 o'clock. We'll see how I'm feeling on it. But tomorrow at 9 o'clock, we will have this game here between Milwaukee and Cleveland. But for the game today, hats off to Dennis Eckersley, his 6 shutout frames, striking out 8, and set up the Oakland A's with a 3-0 lead that they built to a 4-0 lead, and then a little hiccup from Gene Nelson gave up 2 runs, but then Jay Howell put the kibosh on all of that and took care of business, retiring all 4 batters that he faced to earn his 8th save. So the Yankees dropped to 32-17. Oakland improves to 27-21. What that does with the standings, the Yankees lead now. Actually, the Yankees lead is down to a half game over Milwaukee. So if Milwaukee beats Cleveland tomorrow, they will tie for first place. And Toronto's lingering only a game back, with Detroit 5 games back. With the Oakland win, they pull out in front of Kansas City by a game and a half. The White Sox are 2 games back. California and Minnesota both 4.5 back. So interesting stuff. Of course, when all the May 31st games are done is when I'll do a complete video on the computer, not cards and dice, but on the computer, showing all the stats, all the standings, league leaders, the whole 9 yards. And, of course, on Saturday, the National League game from 1987, May 31st, will be the Reds and the Pirates from Pittsburgh. So it'll be, I think that's Ted Power against Doug Drabeck, if I'm not mistaken. But that's going to do it from here. Thank you all for being a part of this particular ball game to start the week with that Monday morning. Thank you for Kathy for all the good trivia questions. And thanks to everyone else for being here and being a part of the chat and keeping the community. It's all a community thing. I always say it's a community thing. So it's always good to be part of the community. And if you happen to run into online somehow, the Replay Gamer somehow, encourage him to get back. Replay Gamer, if you're watching this, please come back and do some more videos. We definitely enjoy, or I certainly enjoyed your, whether you were playing a game or doing a tabletop talk or whatever it was you were doing. But I certainly miss your contribution to the community. Hope you're doing well wherever you may be. All right. So as Jeffrey put on the text, it's that time to sign off. And of course, the catchphrase is until next time, enjoy playing enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as usual, I will see you all down the road. Have a great Monday, everybody.